Hey y'all, welcome to The Exorcist Within, where mental health meets horror cinema. Now, don't mistake my bubbly personality and my southern accent for lack of ability to fucking go there, y'all, because I can get down and dirty in the muck with it. Yes. But also, I fully believe that human beings have the capacity to heal. Hence the name of the podcast. We have the capability within us all to grow and change. Thanks for being here. So, my name is Jamie, and this is the very first type of podcast thing I have ever recorded. And honestly, this is such a fresh, raw, new idea that I have. And maybe, you'll come back to listen to this in 100 episodes, 5 years from now, and maybe I will have changed the name of this and completely changed the direction. Who knows? But for now, this is what you can expect from the podcast, or at least this is what my vision is. I have several passions in my life, many more that I'm going to name right now, but certainly what I would like this podcast to focus on is mental health. I am a provisionally licensed counselor in the state of Louisiana, which means I am working towards full licensure. It's a whole thing. But I am essentially a mental health counselor, and I have a passion for mental health. And I am always immersed in the world of mental health due to my work, and also because I'm extremely interested in it. And it's hard for me not to see mental health themes and psychological themes everywhere I look. And so then you combine that with my other love, which is horror movies and horror literature. Basically, any and all things horror. Haunted houses, haunted spooky cities, folklore, even haunted board games. I mean, you name it. And you might be able to guess it. I especially love horror movies where there are psychological themes, emotional horror, trauma, and any sort of mental health theme that can be sussed out. And I would like to throw in a third element here. I am, because as a mental health therapist, I definitely fit the archetype of the wounded healer. So, with that being said, I myself have been on my own mental health journey for, I guess you can say my entire 37 years of living so far, and maybe even longer, depending on what you believe. And for that reason, I intend to make this podcast autobiographical. Now, before I lose you right there, I know, because why in the world would I want to hear about someone's business that I don't know? I just came here to hear about horror and maybe some mental health themes. I understand. And trust me, there's a part of me that's like, why would anybody want to hear about this? Well, look, also feel free to excuse yourself. That's always okay. But also, I know I, in my lifetime, have gained a lot of benefit when other people have normalized their mental health experiences, or when I have seen myself in others. It is super validating to know that you're not alone, and to see that your experiences can be named, or they have a name, or to see how other people's journeys have unfolded. There's no mental health journey that unfolds the same way. I truly believe that. But I do believe that looking at other people's journeys can help give you some direction, help give you some signposts, give you some inspiration, give you some ideas. And so my hope would be, first and foremost, for me, a little catharsis to tell my own story along the way, but also to give some other people some hope and to make you feel a little bit less alone out there in that big, scary, horrific world out there. I went to an amazing high school, and then I went to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, and I got my bachelor's degree in. I'm just going to take a beat here and just give y'all two guesses what my bachelor's degree is in. 1, 2. All right, chemical engineering. So I got my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and I worked in the oil and gas industry for ooh, 10, technically 12 years, because I was still working in it while I was working on my master's degree in clinical mental health. But I got to work all over the world, and I moved all over the United States and did some really interesting work. But long story short, I was just really never fulfilled. And so then I changed careers during the pandemic. And my husband, yes, I am married. He's a wonderful man named Ryan. Shout out Ryan. I would love to have him come on and do an episode with me. Obviously, maybe more than once, but I definitely have a very special episode in mind for him. Um, and yeah, we moved to New Orleans, one of the spookiest cities in the country, if I do say so myself. One of the most fun places I've ever lived, that's for sure. Most interesting places culturally. So much fun. So rich and diverse here in New Orleans. Moved here in 2021 to be closer to family. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit of a very high level sketch outline of my life. But what you will not hear in there is I am no movie expert. I'm no artist. Don't have any arts and crafts, background, except for maybe just by default living in the city of New Orleans might make me a little bit more wacky and creative than most. Kidding, not kidding. But yeah, so this podcast will not be loaded with a lot of like film factoids or like, don't take my word on like film theory or anything like that. I don't want to spend a lot of time like researching backgrounds and histories and that sort of thing about the movies themselves. Because honestly, the way I see it, movies are art. I'm going to see one thing and you can go watch the movie and you're going to see something completely different. In fact, you might hear my podcast about a movie and go watch the movie and not get remotely the same thing out of it. And that's okay. So my intention is that, it's going to be more about me sussing out the mental health themes from the movies themselves. And where I think I can contribute is what I've learned about mental health. So there will be some psychoeducation weaved in there. Some things I've learned along the way so far. I do have the advantage right now of being mostly fresh out of school. I haven't even been a year out of my master's degree. And like I said earlier, weaving in some autobiographical elements as I go, how I relate to the material. So if that sounds like of interest to you, then you have found yourself in the right place. And thank you so much for being here. And I think in these podcast things, you're supposed to say, leave a comment. Let me know maybe what you would like to hear about, or or let me know how I'm doing, please. Again, this is all completely new to me. I literally just downloaded I don't even know what it's called, y'all. Is it GarageBand on my iPhone, and trying to figure out how to make something that sounds somewhat decent. And of course, the Spotify Creator app. I do want to give a couple shout outs. So first and foremost, I just got to shout out my college roommate, Laura. Hey, Laura. This podcast is really, it's a long story about how I got here, but for the longest time in my life, I wanted to be a writer. And Laura, ever since she's known me, which has been over half of our lives now, since going back to college, when we didn't even know each other, and our university put us in a room together because neither one of us went to college with anybody else we knew that we could dorm with. She put this silly idea in my head that she thought that I was a great writer. And ever since then, I had this idea that I wanted to be a writer. Well, long story short, that idea has kind of fizzled out. And so now I've ended up here on podcasting. And so really the original credit for this, even though it's kind of meandered its way into podcasting, goes back to Laura for always encouraging me to follow my dreams. She is my favorite artist. She's really an artist of all types, but photographer, really, she can do anything. So shout out Laura. The other inspiration for this podcast, as it stands right now, is twofold. Last podcast on the left. Hey guys, y'all, it's a podcast I've been listening to for a very long time. It's true crime. It's spooky. The guys are amazing. And on their latest podcast, they interviewed Kevin Smith, who is also a longtime favorite artist of mine. I absolutely love his material. His On his podcast, with the Left podcast on the Left guys, he essentially encouraged anyone and everyone out there with any kind of creative inspiration to get out there and use the materials that we have in this modern day and age to make your thing. So, thank you, Kevin Smith, and Last Podcast on the Left. You finally inspired me to do it, to make my stab at my creative endeavor here. And, you know, God, there's so many people I want to acknowledge, but I feel like where I'm right now at this very moment recording this would not have happened without a lot of just, serendipity, which is, again, how I feel like that's how things happen in life. So there's another podcast out there, Horror Weekly. George, who's the creator of Horror Weekly, also has a Facebook page with like 750,000 people following it. It's amazing. So I don't know which I found first, his podcast or his Facebook page. But regardless, I ended up in his subscriber group, which is, I think it's like $1 or $2 a month to be in his like subscriber group. And the subscriber group's not big. It's got like 75 people in there right now. And I gotta tell you, those folks in there, have become like, I don't know, they become like my second family. It's weird. I've never met any of them in person, but like I feel like I know all of them. And I always know that I can go there and get supported, get encouragement, and we talk about horror things, but we also just really care about each other. It's like, I don't even know. It's weird, y'all. It's weird in the sense of I thought I signed up for a group to talk about horror shit, and it's like borderline support group. not support group on anything specific, but just like really just the most supportive, and I gotta tell you, creative bunch of folks in one place. Like there's writers, composers, there's other podcasters in there. Shout out to Manic Movie Monday podcast, Screen Divers, Horror Weekly. Did I say writers? There's people who work on movies in there. Man, I'm telling you, like the most creative folks in there. And I let them know that I was going to be attempting this, and I got so much love and encouragement. And obviously, shout out to my husband, who has always been my biggest supporter. And I tell you what, man, y'all, I got lots of ideas all the time. I'm kind of all over the place sometimes. And this man just lets me go with my flow. And so thank you so much, honey, for letting me go with my dreams. All right. Until next time, y'all. I look forward to publishing my first real episode.